Hey everyone, going to do one last book I recommend for 2025. It's Christmas, which is why I'm wearing a Christmas outfit. It is John Dufresne, The Lie That Tells a Truth. It's the second book of his that I highly recommend. The first one is Storyville. I've already done a video on that. If you scroll back, you'll see it. But this one's even more interesting because he goes even more in depth into writer's block. So I'll just read the blurb so you know what it's about. A truly creative and hilarious guide to creative writing, full of encouragement and sound advice. From the acclaimed author of Louisiana Power and Light, Love Warps the Mind a Little and Deep in the Shade of Paradise. This is an essential guide for writers in general, fiction writers in particular, beginning writers, serious writers, and anyone facing a blank page. John Dufresne demystifies the writing process, showing that while the idea of writing may be overwhelming, the act of writing is simplicity itself. Now, he has an MFA in writing and he teaches at the Florida University. So he knows what he's talking about. He teaches it. So it's in several parts, contents, the process, the product, other matters. So I'll just read a bit under the process. So it's chapter 3 in the process. It's called Writing Around the Block. I actually marked off the whole section in pencil, so I've done quite a lot. Let's see. But here's what he says about writer's block. Understand that if you didn't write today, it's because you didn't want to. You didn't have the perseverance or the courage to sit there. You lacked the will and the passion. Maybe you don't enjoy it enough. We always find time to do the things we love. We do. Your choice not to write, and it is a choice, had nothing to do with what has been called writer's block. Writer's block is a fabrication, an excuse that allows you to ignore the problem you're having with your story, which means, of course, that you cannot solve the problem. Exactly. But it does let you off the hook, doesn't it? You can tell your friends, I have this strange and debilitating neurological paralysis that affects only writers and it's untreatable. I just need to let it run its course. Saying you've come down with block gives something else the control over your behaviour and conveniently absolves you from responsibility. And he goes on, and, he's not the first person, the first writing expert, which, people with MFAs are, because it's a degree in writing and, most of us don't have one. But it really goes in depth about writer's block, whereas in Storyville it was just one page and then a page of a scene from The Golden Girls. So he does go through other things in the book. I'll just read out what he does go through. Should have left my glasses on. Okay, the process. Getting in shape, as a matter of fact, writing around the block, becoming a writer, pick yourself up, sitting alone in a quiet room, getting black on white, doing it again and again and again. The meaning of life is to see. Now, what is this? Clish McClaver. Now, I did read the book. I don't remember reading that, though. And then under the product, getting her up the tree, getting her down, beginnings and endings. The Queen died of grief, which is about plot. Plottery. Oh, I love that word, plottery. The heart of fiction, the method. Let's talk, he said. May I ask who's calling, please? You can't do anything if you're nowhere. The art of abbreviation. And then other matters is concerning reading to write. The writer reads, small craft warnings, go forth and write. So I'm going to listen to writing experts and psychologists who say that it doesn't exist. And this is concerning writer's block. Now, as a beginning writer in general, I highly recommend both of his books, Storyville and The Lie That Tells the Truth. It will kind of get you to the nitty-gritty because I think a lot of people, especially women, have been gaslit with all of these writer myths. And writers in general have been gaslit with all of these myths. Oh, the whole compare and despair thing. Oh, fuck off. And everybody suffers from imposter syndrome. Really? And then, writer's block. It's like, well, what are you actually blocked with? Now, I've done a video on this because I've written it in my own book, Dream It, Write It, Publish It. So you can go back and watch that. I call it The Dreaded Block. But I absolutely believe in it because, I've written all these books and all these stories and I wasn't blocked. I had burnout, but I still wrote during burnout. And even though, there were times when I sat and wrote or I just sat there. So there were times I just sat there looking at it going, what am I doing? The fact was I just didn't want to write. I may have been tired. I may have had a headache, whatever. But I ended up starting. And once you start, it should start flowing. For those of us who have done it long enough, it will start flowing. For those who are just starting out, stop with the myths, stop with the lies, stop with the gaslight. Don't be gaslit. Don't let yourself be gaslit by all of these things. Oh, every writer has writers, but no, we actually fucking don't. So I absolutely highly recommend both of his books, Storyville and The Lie That Tells the Truth. John Dufresne. I got this on Amazon on the Black Friday sale. It was like just under $15. So I definitely grabbed it then. And I highly recommend it. And that is The Lie That Tells the Truth by John Dufresne, along with Storyville.